The aim of Black Mental Matters is to tell experiences with honesty. Therefore, some discussions may trigger an adverse reaction. If a discussion is beginning to upset you, we advise that you please stop listening and talk to your support team.
Black Mental Matters. I'm Vince, the voice, along with MRJ. I call her. Makiba, how you doing, Makiba?
I'm doing pretty good, Vince. Thanks very much, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to everyone. And yeah, we're starting out this year with a bang. Black Mental Matters. We'd like to just say thank you to everyone who has supported the program and getting so many messages and making relationships. Don't it feel good?
It really does. We're really networking online and offline.
Online and offline, and just wait. There's so much more in store.
Oh, yeah.
But today, Makiba, we want to talk about something that, as I said, we were talking about it may be shooting ourselves in the foot because social media, this phenomenon, this rise of the social media, it has been just a phenomenon, and people are connecting more than ever before.
Right.
Yet, social media can and has been having some detrimental effects on folks. And that's what we want to talk about
Absolutely.
today. We don't want you to turn us off, but at the same time, we want to make you aware that this social media, there's some responsibility. So where do we begin? Makiba, it's such a huge topic.
Sure. Well, I guess we can kind of touch on just the fact that mostly everybody's online.
Right.
And if you're not online, people are trying to get you online. Everybody's encouraged to have some type of social media or online presence, whether it's for personal or professional reasons.
Right.
So currently there are close to 3 billion active monthly users of social media online.
3 billion?
3 billion. And public health and mental health researchers are saying that about 5% of young people are technically addicted to their social media. And I guess we're going to get into that a little bit later in the program. But what I wanted to kind of touch on was I was talking to my husband about the good old days when you left your job and your boss couldn't find you because you went home.
Right.
And if you were online, your phone was busy.
Right.
So now you have this constant connectivity with the world 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it looks different from generation to generation. The younger generation, they don't know what the world looked like without this. So everyone right now, especially young people, are on social media, and it's having a detrimental impact on a lot of people's mental health.
So I will be transparent. I'm going to be so transparent as this year goes by. Well, the thing is, since the beginning of the year, I kind of took a step back myself because, I was the king of, but for my media business, it is a great way to promote. But then I also, include personal stuff and all that stuff too. And then you're watching what everybody else does. Yeah. And then there were some challenges. And so I took a step back, and I will admit that I felt better. It did. It made me feel better to step away for a moment. And that in itself is, not that you got to just kill it, but just don't live on it, right?
Right. No, you're right. A lot of people do social media detoxes. And when I first saw that, I was like, that sounds silly, but it's actually very therapeutic if you find yourself on social media, several hours a day. And if you have certain apps or certain settings in your phone, you can actually see the amount of time that you're on social media. Some people are on social media 7-8 hours per day without even realizing it. You open one account and then you see a link and you click that.
That's a job. You said 8 hours a day.
Yes, 7 to 8 hours a day of just constantly just checking their phone, updating statuses. checking the likes, checking in with their favorite celebrities, news. There's something always going on.
Well, so many different, I guess, what is it, effects that this social media can have on you. One comes to mind is just a human connection, being
Right.
able to relate to people as people, and not as these
Yeah.
faces on your screens.
Right. Right. And in fact, I had a conference call. I have a cousin who's an attorney that I'm doing some stuff with, and we were talking about our family reunion and how we're trying to keep him, especially, is trying to keep the family together and schedule the reunions, and we've noticed that the participation has dropped off. And we were talking about how a lot of younger people feel like if they've seen you on social media, they've seen you.
What?
And that because that's their interaction, and they feel like, well, I know, that you went over here and you graduated on this day and you've got this going on and I congratulated you and I, sent you a message. So that to a lot of people is, well, that's me staying in touch with you.
Yeah.
But it's really a big difference between digital interaction with people and that face-to-face, or even just people picking up the phone and calling. I have 2 college boys, and I got to text them to get a response.
Yeah.
They don't sit and have conversations on their phones. And I remember having a conversation with one of them once, basically, just pointing out the fact I never hear him sitting and talking on the phone.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's
And
just all text.
yeah, everything is just text messaging and DMs.
We were talking about someone I was talking to. They were at the restaurant and they looked around the restaurant, and the family dynamic. Everybody was on their phone. When
Yes.
nobody
That's
talking.
bad.
It just
Right. Yeah.
yeah, that kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. And you got to kind of catch yourself, because I've been out with my husband a couple of times, and he'll check his email and my phone will go off. And, there have been a couple of times where I've had to, look up and catch us both looking down at our phones. And it really looks ridiculous, when you really pay attention to it, of just how much time people spend connected to their devices, even when they are out together.
Another big thing that has taken place, and I think it's a progression. You had maybe first radio, then television, then the internet, now this social media, but the attention span.
Absolutely.
If it ain't done in 2-3 minutes,
Yes.
we ain't got time to be listening to it or looking at
Right.
it. Right?
No,
Huh?
you're absolutely right. In fact, one of the marketing strategies on Instagram particularly is visual disruption, where the intention is that you need to create a post or media that will cause the person that's just scrolling through their phone to just pause and disrupt that process of just looking through their feed, and to make that post catch people's attention. So there's a lot that's going into social media research right now, and a lot of people are looking into, the causes of people being on social media, the impact that it has on young people, particularly, with young people having accounts in, junior high or even elementary school. Some kids are online, and that's been, an outlet for bullying, unfortunately. So there's a lot that's going into, social media right now, and a lot of people are paying attention to it because it is a platform that we're living off of.
Well, we're going to take just a short pause for the cause of Nakiba and come back, because our young people, this is our future.
Right.
And this social media, again, while we talk to you on social media,
Follow us at Black Middle Matters.
#what's my hashtag.com, what have you. Just keep it right there. Whatever, just remember, Black Middle Matters. We're
Yes.
back in a moment. Fundamental Matters with Vince DuVois and Makiba, and today we're talking about social media and how it affects, the mental health and our young people and old. I mean, it is. What did you say, Makiba? It's addictive, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. A lot of research is going now into the addictive nature of social media and the feeling of the urge to check social media after people have posted their status. They have an urge to go back and see, who liked it, and that's actually just from a biological standpoint. It's linked to the dopamine production, the chemical in the brain that's associated with reward and pleasure.
So it makes you feel good. You get all these likes.
Exactly, right. And that's what's driving a lot of people, young and old, to use social media as sort of validation. One thing I have noticed in particular with communities of color is that we are more inclined to post social media content that is highlighting our successes, our grind, our hustle, our achievements. We have a sense of having to prove to everyone else that we're doing great things in the world. And if I can go as far as to say that I have noticed that on a lot of my friends' social media that are white, that they're posting pictures of nature and pictures of, their dogs and just their life. And I think that's really what social media was originally designed for, was to be able to show people the world through that you're seeing through your eyes.
Well, I think too, as it relates to us, Black folks, we've been doing that in everything. We got to show and prove. That's where it comes from, show and prove. I start thinking about, back in the day when you had a car and you drove to the beach and you got to have spinners and everything.
Right.
You got to show everybody that you roll like that.
Right.
And now social media has made it that by just taking a picture and sending it out to the world. So yeah, you're right. The other culture, the white folks, they picture their dog and the flower that just come up out the ground.
Right.
And we up there talking about, no, check me out. I just got this new chain.
Exactly. Right. Or I'm doing this now in school, or I just got, this job and I'm making this amount of money.
Yeah.
And what that does is that links your identity to social media, and it creates this unhealthy relationship that you then have with it, because you always feel like your intention or your purpose of being on social media is to validate yourself and to show that you're worthy.
I was reading here too. I mean, it can make folks make choices that they otherwise would not make, including altering your appearance.
Right.
Girl, I'm just way too big, even though you only weigh 110. Engaging in negative behaviors. I need to look like a thug, and accepting risky social media. I never done a challenge. I have never poured a bucket of water. Look, if I wanted to give to the Heart Fund, you can reach in your wallet, but I am not jumping off a building or eating a bowl of cinnamon. I never did none of that.
Right.
I don't have a desire to do
No, but you bring up a really valid point. A lot of it is behavior induced, that it is enticing certain behaviors in people, but those behaviors are started by the urge to try to keep up. And we're not really aware of that, and we really need to be. And you just pointed out that the body image issue, and 9 out of 10 young women say that they don't like how they look. So you put that same demographic online and everything is filtered and photoshopped, and it leads into this thing of you are now creating your social media to show what you want the world, or to show what you think that you should be out in the world. And I would love to do, I don't know if I'm ready yet, but I would love to do or see at some point a social media challenge where where people are posting real content. Hey, take a picture of yourself right now, as you are, no filter, talk about how you're feeling at the moment, anything that you could be dealing with, because what you are seeing on social media is not real. It is controlled, edited content that people are putting out there. They're putting out what they want the world to see. And then they've got all these other things that they're dealing with that you have no idea about, just like everybody is.
You said something that people, say they don't like the way that they look. And as you know, I teach voiceover. And the first thing everyone says after we do that first recording is, I don't like the way that I sound.
Right.
The response to that is, it's not for you.
Whoa.
It's not so that you said, no, that voice is for other people.
Right.
And you know
That's
what?
deep.
Even though you look the way you look, it's some folks that like the way you look.
Right.
So you're taking yourself through some changes unnecessarily.
Absolutely.
But like
that's a really good point. And that I need to keep that in mind, because sometimes it's hard for me to listen to my podcast because I'm like critiquing myself. I don't like how I sound. So that's thank you.
You've been doing an outstanding day. We've been killing it, girl. Let me tell you, having too many fake friends. There's a lot of fake friends out there. You have them folks that you think is your friend.
Right. But you don't know who these people are.
You sure don't.
I mean, if you have 35,000 or 2.5 million followers, you don't know who these people are.
I can't even keep up with I think I got 3,000 on Facebook, and I go through it every day. Oh yeah, I met that person there. But sometimes those people shouldn't be in your life.
Right.
You know what
exactly.
I mean?
No, you're absolutely right. Because you have to ask yourself, what is this relationship really about? And is this person adding to the value of my life and who I am?
So there are some upsides to social media, and I think unless you want to just slam it some more, I think we'll take another short pause for the cause,
Sure.
and we're gonna come back and we're gonna give you some positive ways, some ways that you can use social media that can be a great help in your life. How about that?
Absolutely. Sounds good.
Keep it right there. It's Black Mental Matters. It's Black Mental Matters with Makiba Reed Johnson, Vince Bailey, and today we're talking about social media, on social media. So I'm really digging this.
Me too.
Really digging this. And we're going to talk about some upsides, but we still, there are a couple more things that you really got to start looking at as it relates to this. And one was sleep.
Right. Yeah. It affects sleeping patterns. Data from qualitative studies have shown that using social media compulsively damage sleeping patterns, and that especially if you are up at night looking at your social media feed. A lot of young people are having problems sleeping at night because they're up checking social media, or they've got their notifications on, and
Turn them things off.
Yes, right. And your phone does have settings. Like I have no notifications from a certain time of night to a certain time in the morning, and it's helped me tremendously because that also affects your academic performance or even your work performance. Your sleep is the crucible and the foundation to your mental health. Like you cannot start at any point with trying to get your mental health to where it should be if you're not getting enough sleep at night.
I can even recall still, I think the first time that I got on, whatever year that was, on Facebook, the first time, and I think I finally found it like at 7 o'clock at night, and the next thing I know, it was 3 in the morning.
There you go. Right.
I remember that. I was like, what the heck happened? And I probably only made about 5 friends. you start looking and searching and all this.
Yeah, it's like breadcrumbs. You look at one thing and you click on another thing, and there's a link, and you click on that, and there's a notification here, and you're clicking on that, and before you know it, hours of your day have been eaten up.
And I guess I got to ask the question right now, Makiba, what did it gain you?
Therein lies the question.
Wow.
What are you getting out of it?
Wow.
What can you measure and report and express that you are gaining from being on social media. Now, if you get paid to be on social media and you're clocking in and clocking out, go for it. But if you're just on social media, what I always look at are most of the highly successful individuals out there. They're not on social media all day long.
That's right.
You know,
That's
Oprah's
right.
not just on social media 6-7 hours a day. She's got people doing her social media.
And I could see you never liked my stuff. I was like, Oprah, what's up? Don't I look good in
Right.
this outfit? And she, no Oprah. That's crazy. All
Right. Yeah. So these are things that you need to keep in mind when you are spending a lot of time on social media. Is what are you getting out of it? You know, is your life better because you spent 3 hours on social media the day before?
Well, as I again confessed, I took a break, and you know,
Yeah.
when you hear, in fact, there was someone who said that, you know, every year they take a 5-month break or take a whole year, and I'm back.
Wow.
I was like, wow,
Yeah.
really? And yeah,
And see, but how do you balance that if you have professional obligations that, you know, where you're using social media to promote your career or what you do, you know, online?
Yeah.
That, you know, that's really hard to balance.
But I think what happens is that you're using it in a different way. So some of these situations, these symptoms, whatever we want to call them, these adverse effects of social media don't affect you that way because that's not what you're there for
Exactly.
in the first place.
Right.
You know,
Right.
you're not looking for validation. You're not looking to spy on other people and,
Right.
and be jealous and envious. I mean, it's easy to fall into that trap.
No, you're absolutely
Can't
right.
stand her. Look at her.
She thinks she's cute.
She wore that same outfit to the other thing. She got a new car.
That's not her hair.
That ain't her hair. Ooh, you know how we be, not how we are.
Right.
How we be. So don't do that.
No.
Now, in defense, because again, I mean, we're using social media. Hopefully, I think we are in a positive way, trying to make a difference. You know, bringing a light to mental health, particularly in the Black community, and get rid of the stigma. So I think that there are some great upsides to this. Of course, it's a free way to reach the world. Let's just say that. It's a free way to reach the world. But also, you know, for some, when we talk about the young people, some young teens have difficulty being social. You know, even without the computer or anything, they just have and social media can create a way for them to socialize with others.
Absolutely, absolutely. Social media does have an upside, just like what you said, especially for marginalized groups. You mentioned the LGBTQ community.
Oh, yes.
Other communities of color. It helps to, you know, bring awareness to matters such as social injustice, mental health awareness. So it does have an upside. But you just have to be careful when you are using social media, especially like for mental health awareness. Because it can sort of be an echo chamber. You can get caught up into following so many people that, you know, for instance, are, you know, dealing with depression, that's all you're hearing about all day long, and that keeps you from taking the next step forward to seek treatment.
Yeah, but like you say, for like, again, LGBTQs or, you know, folks who, you know, they come together as a group and
Right.
they're able to, what do you call it, echo chamber? Well, we don't want that.
No, you don't want the echo chamber.
But it's a support group, you know,
Right.
that you all are able to share.
Yes,
which
and
is
to affirm one another,
to
to
affirm.
validate one another, to let people know that they're not alone.
Yeah, which again is the purpose of you know, what we're doing here. So you know, it's not that it is the you know, just the devil social media.
No, it's not.
It's not the devil.
It's how you use it.
It's how you use it.
And one of the things I always think about is when you open up your social media account and you are looking at your feed, you need to pay attention to the posts that don't make you feel good. Every single post that is in your feed of the people that you're following should have some type of value to you. And if not, you should not be following that account.
And follow that account, and that relates applies to everyone. I know that over the years, you know, and I ain't calling out no little cousins or little friends, but once, you know, you come on and they and I'm like, what? Bye. And folks, you know, I said, no, this is my Facebook. This
Right.
is my Instagram.
Right.
And I'm not going to, you know, subject
Exactly.
myself to. You know, I'm a grown man. Okay.
Right, exactly.
And that's not so. So I guess to say all that to say, don't be afraid to. I mean, it's not the end of the world to unfriend somebody
Or mute them.
or mute them.
Absolutely.
That's right. You mute them, and then that way they really don't know what
Yeah.
you did.
Right.
Yeah.
Good
but,
point.
But please, I mean, don't feel ashamed to do that. That was a very relieving thing for me too, because this is my Facebook. It's your page.
Right.
You need to open it up and be affirmed, and
Absolutely.
look at the flowers. If you like looking at babies, whatever.
Yes.
Can't
Right.
nobody dictate. Put no big booty girls on your
Exactly.
page.
Right.
And when they start sending you that stuff, block them.
But you know what? You said something really important, Vince. You mentioned something about setting your intentions or what you get to. You should, before you get on social media, you should ask yourself, what do I want to get out of this next few minutes that I'm going to be online? Am I going to post, some business content? Am I doing some research for something? Am I going, to correspond with someone, through messaging? And then that will maybe help you to kind of make sure that you are staying in alignment to what you need to get out of that social media experience, and not just go off on that breadcrumb search of just clicking and then you're there from 7 p.m. to 3 a.m.
Right. No, that's very good, and perhaps there should be some training for young people, because even young folks, you can put that criteria to them.
Absolutely.
Say, well, why are you on there? Because I want to be an astronaut. Okay, well, let's look at all things related to space.
Yes.
Let's look at all things related to engineering or whatever, and try to steer them
Absolutely.
towards something.
Right.
Not just throw them out into the pool
Right.
on the deep end.
Exactly.
And say, look out for them sharks.
Yeah.
They'll be coming,
Yeah, no, that's really good. And maybe the younger generation does need a little bit of guidance, and even older people. I mean, because Facebook can even be toxic a lot of times.
Oh, it is. If you ask Nancy Pelosi and
Right.
and how it's being used in that sense. But I mean, I think, again, this was a discussion that, as it relates to our communities, our Black community and mental health. I mean, this thing is playing such a big role. You said 7 to 8 hours a day.
Right. There are some people that are spending that amount of time checking their social media each day. And that goes from Reddit, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, all of those platforms collectively.
And I can understand it being hard sometimes, because I work from home a lot, and I got a couple computer screens up, and but I do turn notifications. That was key too. Turn them notifications off.
Yes.
You don't need to know that somebody liked the thing that you posted 20 years ago, kind of thing.
Right.
But it's there, and it's very easy to. So you just have to shut it down.
Right, and set your intentions and just kind of do a little self-check. One time I was getting ready to post some business content, and before I knew it, I found myself, on a Real Housewives of Atlanta page, and I was sucked in. Like, ooh, what are they talking about? But and that's a waste of my time.
Yeah.
So you just have to be mindful of, what you are getting out of that experience, especially if you are, of the mindset that time is money.
Yeah. Well, great discussion today on Black Mental Matters once again, Makiba. And we just, again, thank everyone for listening. Make sure you follow us on Instagram. We on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. Email us at info@blackmentalmatters.com. And stay off your computer unless you're doing that, okay? No, we thought we helped today. We did.
We did.
Good stuff. All right. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, Vince.